Good morning. We're just going to start with a short hymn sing today. We go in the Teal hymnal, number 1008. When our heart is in a holy place. Turn in now to the trade hymnals, to the gray hymnal, number 6, just as long as I have breath. I must answer yes to life. Oh, this must be one of Jane's favorites. 6! Number 6.
Good morning. Welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill, Unitarian Universalist. I'm Alexa Adamo Valverde, a member of the Worship Associates Ministry. We extend a warm welcome to all, especially to guests and newcomers. We're so glad that you're here. Be sure to check out the special section for you on the back of our order of service, Welcome Guests and Newcomers. We also welcome those of you attending online. Lyrics to hymns and all elements of service may be found at the bottom of the screen. A complete order of service, including weekly announcements, is available through the link in the Sunday morning email and on the church website. A happy early Thanksgiving for all who celebrate. At the Community Church of Chapel Hill, we acknowledge the harmful myths of this holiday and the ongoing impact of colonization on Indigenous peoples. We also name the present-day challenges of racism and ethnocentrism faced by immigrants and all Black, Indigenous, and people of color. We invite our community to honor Indigenous histories and to center gratitude, justice, and beloved community in all we do. In that light, today is our annual Pie Sunday. So please join us after service for this 30-year tradition. A slice of homemade pumpkin pie and fresh whipped cream made by the children of the church awaits you after service. We also invite you to join in our annual all-church greening and chili potluck event on Saturday, December 6th, starting at 4:30. It's for all ages and no RSVPs are required. At 4:30, we'll decorate the sanctuary and fill holiday totes with donations for women and families living at the Interfaith Council's Home Start Shelter. And at 5:30, the chili potluck will begin. So please come by the table and the after service in the Jones Building to sign up for the potluck. And don't forget the ukes will be playing at the end of the evening. It'll be fabulous. If you would, please turn off or silence your cell phones during our service to maintain a worshipful experience. Whomever you are, whomever you love, and however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. And now it is time for Within These Walls. So please welcome Nicole Graysmith, who will speak with us about our Memorial Task Force.
Good morning. How many people knew we had a Memorial Task Force? Raise your hand. Okay, well, that's getting ready to change. Our group was convened a little less than a year ago. It was part of the strategic plan. And we've been meeting over the past year to think about ways we would remember members here who have passed. We've concentrated on 3 different aspects of memorialization. One is accessibility out to Memorial Rock. Another is our memorial book. Who can point to the memorial book? It's here. Point. Everybody point. It's right there under the clock. We'll be updating that book. And then the other thing that we've been thinking about is how to remember people who've passed. I know this can be a very difficult issue for a lot of people to think about, but it's really important. We are all beloved members here, and we want that to be reflected not only during your life, but after you pass. The task force is looking at a few options to recommend to the board, and we would really love your input. As many of you know, you can get your ashes scattered at Memorial Rock. But we would like to know what you would like that to look like. We're also looking at transforming the Willis Garden. And for those of you who don't know, I already spoke to someone this morning who had no idea what the Willis Garden was. If you walk directly out and turn left and go out the doors, there's a little garden there. And we're looking at transforming that into the Willis Memorial Garden. We're wondering whether anyone here would like their ashes interred, probably in a columbarium And if you don't know what a columbarium is, you can stop by our table where we've got pictures of different columbariums at UU churches across the country. So, we want your answers. Here is a 5-question survey. 5 very easy questions. Please fill out the survey. And if that isn't incentive enough, for those of you who have children or grandchildren, I am bribing them. I have candy. And for each child who brings me a completed form from an adult, they don't even have to be related, I will give them a piece of candy. So maybe you don't want to go to coffee hour and eat pie because random children might be coming up to you. But we're going to be getting the survey out a lot of different ways. You'll probably get an annoying email. You'll see it in the newsletter. Who knows where else, but we will be tabling. Please stop by. We'd love to talk to you about what you're interested in, and if you have questions. The task force is made up of a number of us, and I'm going to name them now so you can bother them and not just me. Again, I'm Nicole Graysmith, Chris and Ellie Spey, Peter Hindy, Mary Beth Powell, Heather O'Connor, and Thom Belote. Please, please, please fill out my survey. I'll even give you a piece of candy if you really want one.
And now please join us, rise in body or in spirit, for our opening hymn, number 128, in the gray hymnal, For All That Is Our Life. What if we knew our power from the earliest age? Born whole, born free, growing into the fullest expression of ourselves as time unfolds us. There are some people who experience this, but they are few and far between. Most of us forget somewhere along the way the story of who we are. So we must make it a practice of reconnecting to ourself, to lean in with love and notice what makes us tick, what brings us joy, what comforts us and grounds us. This story, this way of being, whatever it is our truth, our center, where we are safe, open, receptive. It is where our creativity simmers, quiet and steady, until one spark lights us from the inside out. Yes, we feel it in every pore. Our power, our peace, our longing, our self, connected and whole. Come, let us worship together. You will find the words for our chalice lighting in the order of service. They're written by Layla Ibrahim. Please join me in reading them if you wish to do so. It is a blessing you were born. It matters what you do with your life. What each of us knows about God is a piece of the truth. You don't have to do it alone.
This is a piece by a composer named Marina Esmail. We actually did a piece of hers last week too called Listen, the community church singer sang. She's one of my new favorite composers. And she was working, she works a lot like on Skid Row in Los Angeles and with incarcerated people. And she was working at a women's prison in Corona, California, when a nun who was visiting from Minnesota came up to her and said, I just feel like you might really resonate with this line. You are the result of the love of thousands. So she took that to heart, and then she actually hunted down the poet, Linda Hogan, who's a Native American poet, and found the poem, and then set this poem. And here's the very short poem. I'm going to read it to you. Walking, I am listening to a deeper way. Suddenly, all my ancestors are behind me. Watch and listen. You are the result of the love of thousands.
Before we have our time of joys and sorrows this morning, I want to take a few minutes of ministerial privilege to talk about something that is on my heart, and I'm sure that's on the hearts and on the minds of so many of us here. We learned this past week, we know this past week, that the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE, is now active doing, one wouldn't call it work, doing operations here in North Carolina, in the Triangle, and yes, even in Orange County. I want to talk about this a little bit. First, as far as I'm concerned, they were not invited, they are not wanted, and they are not welcome. Their presence in our community is nothing more than an attempt to terrorize the people with brown skin, especially those with ancestries that can be traced back to Mexico and Central America and South America and the Caribbean. ICE's presence is a threat to undocumented people, but also immigrants with papers. Their sweeps have taken in people with green cards, asylum and refugee status, work visas, and temporary protected status. Indeed, their presence is also a threat to American citizens of Latin and Caribbean heritage. In our community, we are seeing children staying home from school out of fear, parents not going to work, not going to the supermarket, not going to church out of fear of being detained. I'd like to say a few words about how, as a community, we can respond and how, as a community, we are responding. We respond to threats and to injustice by working in partnership and solidarity with organizations that represent communities that are most at risk. This means working with organizations like Siembra, and I know there are a lot of members of our church, including members of our Immigrant Justice Initiative, who've been trained in how to counter ICE. I look out, I see a few of you who I know went to these trainings. Also, the UU Justice Ministry of North Carolina is coordinating responses in partnership with these organizations. The message that we're getting from our partners is not to engage ICE unless you've been trained. To do so puts yourself at risk, but also puts people of color at even greater risk. And if you'd like to find out information about how to get trained, I can help you get that information, as can the UU Justice Ministry of North Carolina. And even if you're not trained in how to engage ICE, there are still things that you can do that we can do. One thing that we can do, one small step, is to be a customer at a Latin-owned business. When people stay away out of fear, it causes economic harm to these stores and shops and restaurants. And I also know that many schools are working to provide meals and groceries to families that are not sending their kids to school at this time. And I know some of you, as I look out, a few of you who I've talked to this week have been working to provide assistance to schools and to other organizations that are providing this direct assistance. The message I want to give is that we do not condone this racist terror in our community. So let us rise to this moment and be in solidarity and to change the world with our love. Amen. So we're going to move into this time of joys and sorrows. The way we do this is if you've come this morning with either a significant personal joy or a significant sorrow, you're invited to come forward to place a stone in the water bowl. Say your name and briefly, I didn't model that brevity, but briefly share your joy or your sorrow. You invite people who have a joy or sorrow to share to come down one of the side aisles. I will go first, but please come forward. So the first stone that I'm placing this morning is for our intern minister, Kaylee Grogan. Kaylee, 10 days ago, broke her ankle and on Wednesday had surgery to repair it. That's why last Sunday we had a guest in the pulpit. Kaylee is receiving really good care and will be back with us soon.
morning. My name is Eric Bannon. This is my wonderful wife, Luann. I got up this morning and realized that Friday was our wedding anniversary.
Me too, I missed it.
Yeah, we both spaced it out completely. We've been married 33 years. And that's not all. Our wedding anniversary is also my cancer-versary, so it's 7 years cancer-free.
I'm Ivy Brzezina, and this Friday I am celebrating with my family 70 years of being on this planet.
I'm Kari Andrade. I have two sorrows. For the life of Terry Lemaster, who passed on November 10th after being diagnosed on October 4th with metastatic cancer. Terry was the partner of my best friend for 30 years. And when I met him, Shirley said, "I hope you like her because she comes with." And the other stone is for Shirley, who is struggling with the grief of losing her partner of 30 years. It was a blessing that we could be with Terry, Art and I, in his last days, and that I stayed another week to help her try to pick up the pieces. So keep them, Terry's memory and Shirley, in your heart, please.
I place this stone for my beloved sister who died just over a year ago, one of my dearest friends, and somebody who devoted her life to her family and to social justice, and set a good example for, she was the eldest of 9, I'm the 6th of 9, and she set a good example for all of us, and I miss her every single day. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Anna Brunn, and I've placed 2 stones today. The first for my uncle who passed away on Monday. He was also my godfather, Robert Polichko. And the second is for my child. We are heading to the funeral on Friday, and this is the first time the family will acknowledge my child as a transgender child. And so this is kind of also a coming out to the family who is also currently unaware. So this is going to be an experience. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Tracy McNeil. I placed this stone for my dear friend Milanka, who lost her mother this week.
This stone's for my husband, who was diagnosed with cancer about a month ago. This is his 3rd round of cancer, and I might be reaching out to some of you about helping with childcare while he's in the hospital, or what might set up a meal train. So keep us in your thoughts. He's going to have imaging on the 2nd and 3rd, and surgeries on December 9th.
I'm Becca Collada, and I'm placing a joy stone today. We've been coming for 2 years, and I could list all the things I love about coming here: the choir, the sanctuary, Tom, Glenn, Pete's in Owl, Nettie is in coming of age and doing childcare. And a few weeks ago, lovely Susan sat with us at the social, and we just had a lovely chat, and of course she's a master quilter. And Nettie got to spend 3 hours at her beautiful home yesterday quilting, and totally lost track of time. And Susan, you are a gift to our family, and this church brought us together, so thank you, everybody.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Jansen, and I'm here to give appreciation to my daughter, Kobe. Her children go to Holt in Durham, and she was telling me about how she was bringing food. Almost half of the kids there are staying home. How she was bringing food to families and transporting people. And on impulse, I gave her a check for $100. And then she said to me, "Mom, there's a new baby of a woman who's afraid to go out. She doesn't the baby needs special formula, and she's afraid to go out, and she doesn't have much money." And so she was using that money to buy the formula.
A final stone is placed this morning for all the joys and sorrows that we hold in our hearts. Let us take a moment to honor the joys and the sorrows of this community. We hold in our hearts those celebrating anniversaries and birthdays. We hold in our hearts those who are grieving the loss of a friend, of a family member. We hold in our hearts those who are struggling with illness. We give thanks for the connections of community, for the ways our lives intersect with each other, connect with each other, sharing our joys and caring for one another through our sorrows and our hardships. We hold as well the brokenness of our communities and our world. I invite you to be still with me for a few moments as we hold in our hearts the joys and the sorrows that were spoken, and as we connect more deeply to the prayers and longings of our own heart. Let us hold a few moments of silence. Amen. And I invite us to remain seated as we sing our meditation hymn number 1009 in the Teal hymnal, Meditation on Breathing.
Our reading is by Victoria Saffold, entitled Map of the Journey in Progress. Here is where I found my voice and chose to be brave. Here's a place where I was once forgiven, where I forgave someone against my better judgment, and I survived that. And unexpectedly, amazingly, I became wiser. Here's where I was once forgiven, was ready for once in my life to receive forgiveness and to be transformed. And I survived that also. I lived to tell the tale. This is a place where I said no, more loudly than I thought I ever could, and everybody stared. But I said no loudly anyway, because I knew it must be said. And those staring settled down into harmless, ineffective grumbling, and over me they had no power anymore. Here's a time and here's another when I laid down my fear and walked right into it, right up to my neck in that roiling water. And here's where cruelty taught me something. And here's where I was first astonished by gratuitous compassion and knew it for the miracle it was, the requirement it is. It was a trembling time. And here, much later, is where I returned the blessing, clumsily. It wasn't hard, but I was unaccustomed. It cycled round, and as best I could, I sent it back out, passed the gift along. The circular motion around and around has no apparent end. Here's a place, a murky puddle, where I have stumbled more than once and fallen. I don't know yet what to learn there. On this site, I was outraged, and the rage sustains me still. It clarifies my seeing. And here's where something caught me. A warm breeze in late winter, birdsong in late summer. And here's where I was told that something was wrong with my eyes, that I see the world strangely. And here's where I said, yes, I know. I walk in beauty. And here's where I began to look with my own eyes and listen with my ears and sing with my own song, shaky as it is. Here is where, if by a surgeon's knife my heart was opened up, and here and here and here, these are the landmarks of conversion. And now it is time for our offertory. Freely have we received gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit, and gladly we bring to our church and its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. If you wish to donate online, please point your camera at the QR code on the back of the order of service and tap the banner that appears, or there's information on the church's website. We will now receive the morning offering.
This is a song about heaven and about inner peace. It was inspired when the composer saw a particularly ethereal sunrise. Beulah land, I'm longing for you, and someday on thee I'll stand, where my home will be eternal.
I'm under strict orders from Marion not to end the service early because the pie will not yet be done, and then we will be eating unfully cooked pie. So don't watch your clock. I want to start my sermon this morning with a little Unitarian history, a little Ralph Waldo Emerson. July 15th, 1838, Emerson gave a lecture to the graduating class of Harvard Divinity School. At that time, Harvard was a Unitarian school. And Emerson was speaking to young people who were about to become Unitarian ministers. And today, all UU ministers are required to read his address. I first read it in high school because I'm precocious. Later read it in college as part of an American literature course, and then again in grad school as a Unitarian history course. And when we take our youth to Boston for coming of age, we go to the chapel at Harvard where Emerson gave that address, and we have them stand in the pulpit where Emerson stood. Emerson's graduation lecture in 1838 was controversial, so controversial that he was banned from speaking at Harvard for the next 20 years. And then, as these things often go, Harvard later honored Emerson by naming the chapel after him and put up a big bronze marker saying, here, on July 15th, 1838, Ralph Waldo Emerson delivered the Divinity School address. I could spend the rest of the morning talking about what Emerson said on that refulgent summer evening and why it was so controversial. I'll spare you that. But I do want to talk about one part of the address, the one part that I find the most powerful. It is the part where Emerson goes full anti-authority. He tells the 6 graduating ministers, yes, just 6, but in front of all their professors, in front of all the ministers of Boston, he tells them to reject the influence of their teachers and mentors and to listen to themselves. Let me read what Emerson said. I've modified his words slightly for gender inclusivity and to make them easier to follow. Emerson said, "Let me admonish you, first of all, to go alone. Refuse the good models, even those that are sacred to the imagination. Dare to love God without mediator or veil. Friends enough you shall find who will hold up to your emulation Wesleys and Oberlins, saints and prophets. Thank God for these good models, but be yourself. Imitation cannot go above its model. The imitator is doomed to hopeless mediocrity." And that was a little bit of a slam. Emerson goes even further than that, though. And here I'm going to paraphrase him. He said that when we follow another person's example, we deny that the same spark of inspiration that inspired them actually has the power to inspire us. He argues that we should have faith in our own soul. Emerson says that once you set aside your own intuition of the divine and follow a secondary knowledge, whether that be St. Paul or George Fox or Swedenborg, you grow apart from the divine. Emerson says that the way to be spiritually dead is to assume that the age of inspiration is past, that the Bible is fully written and closed. Instead, he says, we should let inspiration breathe within us and be open to what new truth is being written in our living. This is radical stuff. I have a friend, Reverend Jane Jepka, who wrote a book that's kind of an introduction to Unitarian Universalism. Jane is hilarious and quirky and bold, and her personality fully shines through her book. The book begins with a chapter called How Unitarian Universalists Break the Rules. And she says, actually, there are no rules. There are no rules. Nothing external has any authority over us unless we decide that it does. I grew up Unitarian Universalist, and growing up, I remember my Unitarian Sunday school lesson on the 10 Commandments. Do you know how you learn the 10 Commandments in a Unitarian Sunday school? This was the actual lesson. The Sunday school teacher began by reading us the story of Moses receiving the 10 Commandments, bringing down the stone tablets. The teacher explained what the 10 Commandments were and what they meant. And then the teacher passed out crayons and sheets of paper that were entirely blank except for the outline of a stone tablet. And the teacher said to us, "Write your own commandments." Let me admonish you, first of all, to go alone, to refuse the good models, even those that are sacred to the imagination. That lesson was profound. Here are the old rules, and here is a blank piece of paper and a crayon. Write your own. That's the story of our faith, by the way. Our faith traces its roots all the way back to the Radical Reformation in England, to a bunch of feisty, nascent religious movements, Puritans and Quakers, Anabaptists and Separatists, diggers and levelers. These groups were all different, but they all shared one common trait. They did not want to be told what to do. They said to the king and to the official church, "Oh, you have rules you want us to follow? That's cute. We will create our own, thank you very much." In 1636, our religious forebears in New England learned that England was planning to send over ministers to run their churches. They said, "Oh, that's cute. No, thank you." And so they founded their own school, a little school called Harvard, as their way of saying, "We'll teach our own people what we want them. We'll teach our own leaders how to be leaders." In 1648, England passed a series of sweeping regulations on how churches must be governed, and in New England, the response was, "Oh, that's cute." So they called a meeting and wrote their own rules for how they would self-govern. And in 1776, in Philadelphia, you know the story. English rule? Oh, that's cute. No, thank you. We'll choose our own government and our own leaders and assert our own rights. Oh, and you can't tell us what to do. Victoria Safford wrote in our reading this morning, "This is the place where I said no, more loudly than I thought I ever could, and everyone stared, but I said no, loudly anyway, because I knew it must be said, and those staring settled down into harmless, ineffective grumbling, and over me they had no power anymore." The Spirit is alive today, thank God. Earlier this week, 6 members of Congress put out a message to all of the members of the armed forces that said, "You can refuse to follow orders that you worry are illegal. You can say no." When people with frog costumes and whistles show up in front of ICE stations and say, "Leave, you're not welcome here," what they're really saying is, "I do not accept that you have any authority over me or this community. This is the place where I said no more loudly than I'd ever thought I could." There's a chant that happens at these ICE protests that I think is brilliant. It gives me chills. The chant goes, "Love your neighbor, love your God, save your soul, and quit your job." Love your neighbor, love your God, save your soul, and quit your job. And what I love about this chant is that it recognizes that these people who work for ICE have actual agency over their lives, that they can say no. They can refuse. They can make different choices. They can author a different narrative for their lives and for their legacies. Emerson said, "Let me admonish you to go alone." Jane Jepka said, "Break the rules, it's time." My Sunday school teacher said, "Here is a blank piece of paper and a crayon." The gospel of you. I suppose I should talk about the gospel of you since it's the title of my sermon. In Greek, the word for gospel is evangelion, which means good news. That's all gospel means, is good news. So the gospel according to Mark and the gospel according to John really means the good news according to Mark and the good news according to John. And by the gospel of you, I mean something radical in the Emersonian sense and affirming in the fullness of our Unitarian Universalist sense, I mean that you are the good news. Your life is the good news. That is a belief, a conviction that is at the core of our faith. A month and a day from now, we'll gather on Christmas Eve, and this year, like most years, we'll probably read that famous Christmas reading by Sophia Lyon-Fahs, which ends, "Each night any child is born is a holy night, a time for singing, for wondering, for worshiping." How many people recognize that reading? We do it most years. Come on Christmas Eve. We'll do it again. I love that this reading is so Unitarian Universalist, that on Jesus' birthday we read a reading that says, any night any child is born is a holy night. The gospel of you. Matthew's gospel begins with an ancestry, and every one of us has an ancestry. As the choir sang, we are the result of the love of thousands. The Gospels of Matthew and Luke have a birth narrative, and each of us has a birth narrative. It is a blessing you were born. All the Gospels contain a death, and every one of us will die. And all the Gospels contain a community of memory and hope who gather to grieve, and a sense that we do not really die, that our memory and legacy and impact and life endures. So may that be true for each and every one of us. And most of all, as Victoria Safford wrote in our reading, along the way, the story of our own life, the gospel of our own life, can become our own religious text, a map of the journey in progress. Here is where I found my voice. Here is where I forgave and was forgiven. Here is where I said no. Here is where I learned and where I stumbled. Here is where I learned to be myself. Here is where I began to look with my own eyes and listen with my own ears and sing my own song, shaky as it is. Your own song, not somebody else's song. Your own life, not the mediocrity of some other model. Your own life, not what someone tells you to do. Your own life, not the commandments handed down on stone tablets. Your own life, not the limits imposed by tyrants. Amen. Our closing hymn this morning is in the Teal hymnal. It's number 1028, "The Fire of Commitment." I could tell you to sing it, but you're going to have to choose that for yourself.
Spirit, into faith, every
Spirit. The words for extinguishing our chalice are in your order of service. Please join me if you wish to do so. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now please join me in thanking all who made this service so worshipful this morning. And now please join in singing Shalom. The words are in your order of service. Please join hands with those next to you or cross them over your heart as you are comfortable.
Thank you.